Welcome to Inspire Saratoga, a show that highlights the people and stories that make our home a place of strength, inspiration, and success. I'm Michael Kurkowski, physical and mental performance coach and resident of Saratoga Springs. And in this show, my mission is to connect with the great people who also call this place home, hear about their work and what they do for this town, and share their insights and experiences in health, wealth, and happiness for you, my neighbors. Thank you for joining me wherever you are in town. Let's dive in. All right, let's get this rolling. Welcome, everybody, to Inspire Saratoga Legacy Lessons Edition. All right, so I'm pumped to dive in with you. And to start this, I wanted to explain and give a little context about what this type of episode is. This is something I've done a lot on my other podcast, The Strength Connection, but I wanted to share with you the legacy lessons and what I'm going to aim for in here. So I remember a while back, I had a person I was really pumped about on the Strength Connection podcast. He's a great coach named Luca Hussever. And he ended our episode with something that was different than a lot of the conversations I had, where he challenged me and really challenged the audience. What is one takeaway that you got from this conversation that you can implement and practice into your life? And for some reason, that always stuck with me, because I think you've probably had this thought before. Have you ever walked away from a conversation and felt like something just clicked? And not because it was new, like a new insight, but because it reminded you of something true that maybe you forgot before. And that's what I got from Luca. And I'm fortunate that in the work that I do and the conversations that I have, I get this a lot. I'm always seeing takeaways that I get from conversations that I have. But often I kind of keep them to myself and I start implementing them and practicing them personally. And I think it can be a little bit of a disservice from not sharing those insights and experiences that I've had from the conversations. So that's what this is about. This is a legacy lesson. It's the lessons that I've learned and personally took from conversations that I've had from the Inspire Saratoga podcast, from these great people. Some of them are very popular, very known people that are in the area, but there's quite a few that are unsung heroes, people that are just doing really good things, but not in the public spotlight or image as much. And that's what I wanted to aim for and highlight with this podcast as a whole, sharing the people that are really aiming up and doing great things in the community, not just in strength or mindset or performance, but creatives, and just inspiring stories of people who are just truly doing the best in their lives. So for this one, I wanted to share one from season 2, episode 1 that I did with Coach Katy Margison. So a little background on this episode is Katy is a nutrition coach of Athena Nutrition in this area. She's a competitive weightlifter and CrossFit athlete, and she is also known as the sober weightlifter because she has gone through the past year and change into her own journey of addiction recovery. And this was one of the topics that we dove into. I asked her a lot about her experiences over the past year of going through recovery. What was it like at the beginning? What was really her why and the reason that it's stuck at this point, because she's tried and she failed at different times before. So we got a lot into that. One of the things that she said, which I thought was really interesting, she shared a particular morning on her journey of recovery. She was a little bit in, and it was a Sunday morning. She just took her 2 dogs out for a walk. The sun was out, and she just paused and saw the sun that was beaming down and realized, it's been so long since I've seen a sunrise in the morning time, and how unbelievable and beautiful it was. This was a great day. And she just paused and just stood there in the street for a moment and just took it all in. So really the main lesson is those gratitude in the small things. And this reminded me of a part of my life I remember from about probably like 7 years ago now as I'm recording this. And this was right after a time when I was in years of deep stress and deep anxiety. So for context, I was in a job where I was working pretty much morning, noon, and night. I was in there for years. I managed a company. I had employees that worked for me, but it was a very highly toxic, highly volatile environment. And I was at a point where each day I was just so stressed to the top of my head that I got very numb in many ways. Like I would go in usually before the sun was up. I would just be there all day, and then I would just leave at night and I would collapse at the end of the day. And that went for quite a few years till eventually I had to come to that realization myself of this is not aligning with me. Like if I keep doing this, I just time is going to keep going on. I'm just going to get older and I'm going to have so much regret in my life till eventually I'm going to do something. I have to do something now. So that's a whole nother story in its own part. But after I left there and found a great partner and a great team that I was working with up in Saratoga Springs, as I was living in Clifton Park at the time, and was in just a real state of excitement and optimism. Like it was a new venture, it was kind of turning over a new leaf, and I was just really excited about the next things that were coming up. And I remember a Saturday morning and I woke up early. I was going in to teach a class at a new studio, and I was just driving on an early Saturday morning. It was probably like 6 a.m. and it was during the summertime, so the sun was up, and I was just driving up the highway, just listening to some music and just had the windows open. So it was a nice kind of warm breeze that was coming through the car. And I remember just taking a deep breath. And I thought the same thing as Katie said in this story is like, man, I can't remember the last time that I just listened to some music and just saw the sun shining, was just driving up the highway, just into starting to enjoy a beautiful day. I was in such a zone of just anxiety and just stress, and just all days started to blend together so much that I forgot those small little things that are just so powerful and so fun of just listening to some music or just going for a drive without any crazy agenda or a whole huge to-do list to do for the day. I was just enjoying it, going to the studio. I knew I was going to train for a couple of hours and then enjoy the rest of the day. So the message that I had is that strength isn't always loud and success isn't always loud. Often it is we think that success or the things that we should celebrate are the big moments, a promotion or a graduation or a personal best or achieving a goal. Yeah, all those things are great. But more often, the moments that are discounted as ordinary through our lives are anything but. It's the small little things that happen on a day by day basis that we can just pause and just take gratitude for the moment, because those are the moments that make up the bulk of our lives. And often it's we have to get out of something that's really challenging in order to really see those things. And that's kind of it's a tragic thing in that way because it doesn't need to be that way. I think you can really celebrate these small things and just the small moments on an everyday basis, not having to be in the shit or having a really tough time to recognize the good things that are going on. You can recognize the good things that are going on when things are going good and actually celebrate those in the times. So it's not just about looking for the good things when things are going bad. It's actually embracing all the good things when all the other good things are going good as well. So the legacy lesson that I had for this, and I've gone through this before in my coaching programs, I've gone through this in my own life, but I call it get out of the auto zone. This was actually a message that I got from a good friend of mine who's a psychotherapist and talks about taking a very ordinary moment that happens on a regular basis throughout the, day by day lives. It could be sitting down eating breakfast. It could be going for an early morning walk, having a cup of coffee. It could be driving to work. It could be any of these just regular mundane moments throughout our average day that we usually just coast through and they just go through without us thinking about them at all. Take one of those moments and actually sit with it. Like feel everything that's going on. So if you're eating breakfast, actually feel the spoon or the fork in your hand. Actually, like what's the sound make when you go and you put your fork into your scrambled eggs, and what does it actually taste like? Take all the other excess noise and stuff out of it, but just be completely in that moment. And what you'll probably recognize is there's actually a lot of really cool things that are going on with that. But it's so easy to just gloss over these moments on day by day because they're routine, they're just normal. But those are the things that make up the majority of our lives. And that's what I wanted to share with you here because it's strength is not always loud. It's not always the big things that happen. And I think what Katie gave me in this lesson was recognizing just what the power of like an early morning Sunday walk with the sun out, what that actually does.
I recognize that in the story that I had about just driving up the highway on a Saturday morning. And I bet you have a bunch of those as well, but it's so easy to gloss over them just because you get into the routine of the day. So that's the message that I wanted to share and the lesson that I wanted to bring about into this episode for you. And I'll leave you at that. So Katie recognized this. I'm seeing it too. It's just one rep, one decision, one reminder at a time of these lessons that happen in our lives. So I'll end it on that. Thank you so much for listening. And if this resonated with you, I would love to hear your comments about it. What popped up in your mind? Like, what was some of the big things that popped up? What is the getting out of the AutoZone moment that you're going to do for yourself? Leave a comment here on your podcast platform or jump onto my socials and leave me a DM. Let me know how this affected you. All right, I'll leave it at that. Take care, guys. Much love, and I'll talk to you soon. All right, peace.
Thank you for joining me today. I hope you got some great value from this episode and a little more insight into some inspiring work happening right in this town. If you want to know more about our guests' work and check out more of what they are doing, please click on the links in the show notes below. And along with that, check out the direct link to 5-Minute Mindset. This is a 5-minute video that gives you the 2 best practices that you can do every day in 5 minutes that will create a major impact in your mental strength and resilience. If you are on your own mission to become physically and mentally stronger, these practices will be a serious game changer for you. Seriously. Thank you again for joining me today. I'll see you on the next one.